Nature, and there's also the sequel, Panda is Still Fat, and other Panda haikus. And there's also a other things like plushies, stickers, prints, and so forth on my shop. So you can go and visit the store there and have get access to those goodies. And today, so what I normally do with these drawing sessions is I pick a theme and then I draw that theme using my pandas. So today's theme is Dragon Ball. So if you're watching live right now, you guys can message in the chat if there's any particular character or subject that you'd like to draw. I'll be doing that. But today, in terms of the theme, I'll be drawing Dragon Ball. So let's get started here. Goodness. Sometimes I picked the wrong scene, and so I ended up picking my intro. Worked a little bit too fast there. So, so I think I just made a decision to switch the scribble times to just Wednesday. Just to do it on Wednesdays. So I think based upon the response I've gotten so far, I think moving to a single or one day per week is a little better. So I'm going to be making that change, and that'll at least free me up to work on some other things as well. So let's see. I'm going to be drawing Goku. Let's try doing. Oh, I think someone's home. I think I probably need to go a little bit larger there. So anyways, one of the things, for those of you who are tuning in, for the first time, I basically do these drawings and upload them to my site as coloring sheets. So normally I would have things to draw and I guess there isn't that many people in the chat today, so it's fine. I'm gonna just sketch and draw. And if you're at home, you're working from home, this is like a time where you guys can sit and chill and hang out. So Hey Hector, what's up? See Hector's in the chat, so we got about 2 people now. So yeah, I made the just to reiterate for Hector, or the 2 people in the chat right now. Yeah, I'm going to be moving this to once a week, just because of I'm going to do that for now, at least for the short term, just because you know, I need to there's certain projects I need to get more traction on, and I think as great as it's been, I think there's other projects I would like to make some progress on, and so I want to be able to make sure I get those started or get those finished, more like that, and so we can I can get those projects to you. Oh, I drew this character wrong. I know, I haven't had much experience writing Chinese, so this is kind of actually I think I need to go like this first. Yeah. My crappy Chinese writing. Oh well, you get the point. There's something right there. Yeah, so just moving, like I've had a few books that I need to get finished, that have been sitting. I'm working on a couple commissions too, and I'm kind of working to finish those commissions so I can get back to writing, because it's you know, gotta pay the bills. and so it's kind of been you know, and I also had a couple I had Emerald City, which was supposed to be rescheduled in the fall. They just made the decision to cancel the event, so kind of sad that that's not happening, but you know, you move on and you try to start what's the word, you pivot, you know, you pivot and you try to figure out a different way to do things. So that's what's kind of happening at least in the latest updates. So but the thing is, like, I'm gonna try to get more content out there, try to get more, not content, but just try to get more work out there, try to build my library, because I have 2 books currently technically in my library, and I'm also trying to talk with the agent about you know, possibly working on another book, assisting another book, but you know, I kind of have to see how things turn out in the next few months. Okay, so we got Goku, then we have, hey Bernard Smith, what do you find is the best way to get freelance work? I think it differs for different people. Obviously there's websites that you can apply for. I think like Upwork and Freelancer. I haven't actually gotten any work from them, to be honest. I have an account on there, but I haven't really gotten any work. I think a big part of that is because there's you're competing with a lot of international freelancers, so you are, in terms of the price point, if you're trying to make a livable wage in the US, it's pretty challenging to do that, because you just expect to pay or if you're desperate to get a job through there, then you're kind of dealing with some really stiff competition. Why is the camera so close to me? Okay, I realize I don't have my camera mounted in the right spot. So with regards to with Upwork, I think it's more U.S. based, but there are some scams where like some guys who are living overseas, they will partner with like a freelancer in the U.S. And I know this because someone actually was trying to partner with me and was messaging me about it, and I was like, that's too much of a hassle. Like I don't want any part of this. So like I've had some references through friends and establishing relationships with people. So for example, like I've known people, like one small gig that I just completed was there's an old Asian nursing home here that I've done some events in the past in terms of like volunteering. I think they had like a mahjong night, for example, and I'm friends with one of the coordinator people I'm friends with people who have worked there before, and so they let me just bring this up a little bit because I just realized I'm a little bit off the screen. I think, yeah, that'd probably be a bit better. I'm gonna try to change this up. I think it's probably because I'm answering a question. So like with this, let me just go back. Let me step back. So to answer that question again, yeah. So like Keenon is the name of like a nursing home I've done activities with, just like with charity and such, and like I know the people there, so they've actually like reached out to me once to like see if I'd be up for designing, doing a character design for like a campaign, like a fitness campaign, and I designed this character called Walter. He's like this little kid with a superhero cape, and so you get some stuff like that. You get some stuff where I know a creative director at an agency, and he's gotten me some storyboard and some design work. Most notably, that the big job that I got was for like a Chinese New Year, nationwide Chinese New Year campaign where I designed the calendars, and basically it was just this last year, and so I got my calendar distributed all across the U.S. You can find my my signature in there, and actually I've hidden the panda in every drawing. No one knows that, but if they look hard enough, they can find the panda. So that's just a thing that I do. Some of them were pretty complicated, where I was like, oh, it's like I've done so much work on this, but I got still throw the panda in there. So there's like those kind of relationships. So it's very serendipitous for me. I don't, I've gotten I got one comic gig one time when I was at a convention, and that was with Joe Books, and I drew for Disney Princess Comics. And that was, so part of that I think is, I don't know, I think the best, it's not really one specific answer. I have heard some stuff like, oh, like if you're a designer and you're, say, like you can do logo design, and you say you go through your local community and you see like, oh, different businesses and stuff, or maybe there's a restaurant that you're a patron of, and maybe you just ask them if they need artwork hung up in their place. I have artwork hung up in this restaurant chain here called Katsu Burger, which they're actually still open, so thankfully. So in Seattle, we have went into the restaurant and I saw that you know they had a lot of these printed art on their walls, but it was like, you know, just still Japanese motifs and stuff like that, like pictures of Godzilla. And then I was like, you know what, do you guys want like actual artwork? I mean, like real artwork that you can have on, you know, that are framed and stuff. And so like they agreed, and so like I managed to get inside two of them. Two of them, right? They have a couple branches, and then like eventually they opened up a third restaurant. They asked me if I wanted to do a mural for them, which I did, and it's actually I think it's a pretty awesome mural in their Ballard location. So I actually have a design like this custom mural. It is actually my first mural that I've ever done, and it was actually, I think it turned out really well. And you can read about the process on nolanlee.com, which is my other website. And there's actually a time-lapse video, I think, on this channel that shows the time-lapse for it. And I was actually quite proud of that mural, because it was around a time where I wasn't drawing as much. Like I had taken a break to watch my son at home, which you probably can hear thumping around upstairs. You know, I kind of wonder if I have the confidence to wear my own name on my own shirt. Like, pull my hair. I'm getting pretty being pretty sloppy here today. Mostly because I'm just thinking. It's less so when I'm listening. When I'm listening, I listen to podcasts and I listen to music, and because this type of thing tends to be a bit more manual, I suppose. But yeah, I think that feels too big, but I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. A little digital cheat here. Hector says, so I was supposed to start work this Sunday, but they called me yesterday to give me work at another location for less pay or stay furlough, so I will be staying. Yeah, sorry to hear that. I mean, it's like, is it really worth the trouble? I mean, one hand it's like, yeah, you're paying the bills, and then the other hand it's like, oh well, you gotta, you know, maybe there's more benefit to actually just resting. Yeah. So but anyways, I don't know if that answers your question, Bernard, but I think the thing is, like, the overall principle is just you have to get your work out there, and you have to just keep marketing it. And I think I'm a pretty terrible marketer for the most part. Like, I post on social media, but I haven't quite found a good rhythm yet with bringing my stuff online, and it feels like I don't know if anything, the current events of the day are really having an effect on that. I mean, obviously with the restaurants, for example, like I get messages from people saying, you know, oh, I saw your stuff at the restaurant today. It's really cool. You know, I get some of that stuff. And I also another thing about bringing your stuff out there is, like, so you're basically having to play a long game is what I'm trying to say. And so you have to be have that expectation that, you know, if you're trying to be aggressive and get your stuff, get like that next project, it might be it's going to be a bit difficult. So there's that expectation that I think you need to have with regards to, you know, when am I going to see some results? Because really, I have that same issue too. Like, sometimes my stuff gets really popular, and then sometimes it's like crickets. So that's kind of where marketing comes in, where you just have to like brute force and like try to figure out interesting ways to get yourself in front of people, and not only doing that, but also giving them content that they would be that people would care about, right? I think for example, like when you're working on something, like I know, like when I post these drawings, these scribble time drawings on social media, it's sometimes I get a response, but I'm not going to get an overwhelming response, because I think, one, these pandas they're a bit specialized, right? Like they're, you know, if I show this randomly to anybody, like they're not necessarily going to get what's going on, because it's like, well, what is this character? Well, it's just a fat panda, or it's a fat bear of some sort, right? And so there has to be at least some familiarity with it. Now, if I drew like a really cute puppy, then it's like, well, okay, it's a cute puppy, but that's pretty much the extent of it. With something more special and unique like this, it's going to take time to foster and develop that. So that kind of, but you know, eventually getting your stuff out in front of other people begets more opportunities, I would say. And you know, like, so, but you know, like I have a family, so it can be challenging to do a lot of the marketing. But you know, if you're single or if you don't have a family, you know, obviously there's a lot more time to just produce stuff. And if no one's responding to your work, just make more stuff. Like that's gonna be the thing that's gonna keep going, because like if you're an artist, you're already creating. You're not, you know, you're going to enjoy the process of creating, and not just like creating something so you can get the paycheck, although that's important, but also just when you're doing that project, you gotta put, you know, I try to make sure that I'm putting my full effort into it, no matter how difficult it can get sometimes, because there's also the tendency, like if a project's not going well, or if it's not, if you're not really feeling inspired, like you have to make yourself feel inspired eventually, because at the end of the day, that's going to be your only, you know, it's like you're as good as your last drawing. And if you make a lousy drawing, or you're not putting your full effort into it, it will show. And I have to remind myself, like if I'm undercharging something, right, and it's just like, I should have got more out of this. It's like, well, you agree to it, so you got to make sure that you finish the job, you know. And then maybe on the next job you ask for more, you know, for the next client, you know, and they say no, well, you know, you can either take that as, you know, you're too expensive, or maybe like, are you providing enough value for them? Like if you put yourself in their shoes, is it going to make sense? And so yeah, I mean, in marketing in general is going to be, so that's, by the way, I just finished a Bulma, not Bulma, and you're going to try to find ways just to get yourself, it's basically just getting yourself out there and getting what's called like brand recognition. And it's it can feel pretty draining sometimes, because you're just like, and it, you know, it might also feel like you're shilling out for you know, you're trying to like dance for the crowd, but I mean, how else are people gonna know about you, you know? And so, but that, you know, not to say that that awkwardness goes away. It never goes away. I think I still feel pretty awkward when I'm trying to talk to people, and so it's, yeah. Aside from that, like, I mean, yeah, it's just building connections and building relationships too. Like, when I'm doing things like, trying to get my name out there and so forth. I'll also look at other creators, and Hector just pointed this out. I try to engage with the community that's there, and not just do so at like at a level where it's like you're trying to capitalize on a situation, but it's like I genuinely enjoyed the experience that Doug TenNapel does, on his show, and it's funny because it's like it's such a raw, it's unfiltered. It's basically just him just sitting and drawing on I'm just trying to figure out how to do this. So basically him just sketching away and like, talks about whatever, and I admire the creative energy that guy has. And you just find out, or you just get in touch with other people and just trying to build relationships, if you're participating in the chat, I would say, make it feel natural, like that you're contributing something to the conversation. And if the opportunity comes to sling a good joke, that's take it, even if it sucks, well, just we're all not like professional comedians, so sometimes some stuff is going to work, some doesn't, and I wouldn't try to feel slighted because I have a difficult time just keeping focus, and when I'm trying to chat, when I'm trying to answer these questions in this chat, which I'm not doing a great job of, but either way, it just comes to that building relationships. And if for working in comics or animation, I don't have much comic, or I don't have as much comic experience, at least working after I worked with Disney, but then I kind of like told me to like, I felt even more motivated to work on my own stuff. And so Joe Books doesn't exist anymore as far as I know, but that was a very interesting experience just to be part of that. So it works for different people. Some people, like there's a friend of mine who his client, he works with like the Canucks, the hockey team, the Vancouver Canucks up north, and so he'll do things like illustrate birthday cards for them, like special illustrations for birthday cards, which they'll post on their website or on social media. And you just make those relationships, and you try to maintain them and keep in touch. Don't let them fizzle out. And if you're trying to check in with someone, like someone who's provided you some freelance work, and you just say like, actually, a good point that I heard was from, I forget the name, but it was on the Future podcast, and basically Future spelled without an E, with Chris Do, and they were talking with a consultant, like a professor from art college or art center, and he was giving a bunch of this financial advice about how to navigate like the upcoming pandemic. And so he mentioned that when you're trying to reach out to your clients, and if you're strapped for work and you're really trying to, you're coming to your clients and you're asking like, oh, is there any work available? He's like, well, come to them asking, instead of asking for work, ask them like, how can I help? And that part of that was kind of the genesis for for me doing this show, where it's like I know a lot of parents are at home with their kids, and it's like they need something that kind of feels like that can help keep the kids busy, and also like serve as a way to provide people with, you know, maybe like a pseudo art class in a way. I think because I had to change my times and adjust, I think, and also because of the summer, I think it's probably best to reschedule everything and have it be, you know, reduce my time spent on the show, because I think at this point it's served its purpose, and I could always bring it back again, because I think, or if I wanted to bring it out at a higher frequency, then there's always the option to do that. I always tend to draw capes the same. It's like always like, all right, so there's we got one Piccolo Panda. I think this might be the first time I've drawn him. Actually, he doesn't wear boots, he wears shoes. All right, let's see who we can do next. Okay. Let's do Ub. All right, see you, Ben. Thanks for answering asking those questions. Those are love. Hopefully, that was helpful for you. Feel free to stay in touch. Gonna change this out a bit. Cheers, Ben. thanks, Hector. Yeah. What was so captivating about that when you were brought on the show was that another artist hired you to do the illustrations on their book, and how you were doing it was mega awesome for me. Wow, thanks, Hector. Yeah, so that was Jason Brubaker was someone that I first heard through Chris Oatley's podcast, and that was actually pretty interesting. It was Chris Oatley had this online or this art school podcast that he had, and he brought him on, and I think Jason's story really resonated with me. And so when I started showing at comic conventions, Jason was there, and so I had at the time I also made acquaintances with Kazuki Buishi, and he had done like a books signing at a local bookstore here where he moved up, and so that's how I met him. And Krillin, yeah, of course I could draw Krillin. And so he had mentioned he was also friends with Jason, and so like I think at the end of Emerald City Comic Con, we were about to clean up. When I had a couple moments, I thought, this is my chance to go see Jason, because I knew he was down here. And I tried to come by his booth, or his exhibitor's booth, and he was pretty slammed. So we got the chance to talk very briefly, and then later I just messaged him because I was kind of going through some stuff. Had some questions about life, and called him up one time, and we had a really good long chat, and I think a lot of that really what we talked about really resonated with me, and so he provided me the opportunity to work on one of his books when I kind of showed him my work. And he mentioned he was also roommates. He had been roommates with John Clausen, whose work I also admire as well. And so like when it came time to do the book, that was used as a vehicle for me to kind of explore that style. And it was a style I was also working on in conjunction with another book I was working on called which I've recently done a big rewrite on, and I need to figure out how to publish the book, because I think one of the trick that I'm running into is that I also am trying to get into the publishing industry, but by releasing this book, it probably would not be favorable to have that listed on my official published books, which makes sense. And I'm not sure if it's making sense to people who are talking, but basically it's like the idea that if you have something that feels a little bit amateurish on your in your portfolio, and someone's trying to pitch you to do a book project to another editor, and they see that book that's listed on your catalogs or your portfolio, then it could be detrimental. And certainly when I showed my manuscript to the editor, that was the comment that I got, that it does feel very amateurish. The story, the art, I thought was fine. It's just that the art was fine. I think the story and the prose and everything just did not meet their standard. And I actually went through and reread it, or gave myself some time off away from it, and I looked at it again, and it's like, yeah, I think for me it was my project was seen more as a joke, like this is kind of like a gag, but then it's like, so it's one of those things where it's like, this joke is funny to me, and I'm basically laughing at my I'm kind of doing it for my own enjoyment, but I also was trying to see if I can make it more of a story that I can actually like plot. And it was a story that I was like, I just felt like I just needed to get out of my system. And now that I got it out of my system, it feels good, although I kind of wish I can publish it in some way. So I'm trying to decide how to go about it, and I think what I will do is I'll just run a crowdfunding. I'll release it for free online, but then I'm going to just do a crowdfunding for people who want physical copies. So that way, and there won't be an ISBN tied to it, so it'll just be like this one-off that I'll do. But at least I'll get a little bit of financial compensation for it. But it's a story, yeah. So it's basically a story of a giant gorilla who's going on a picnic. So it is still that story, but the way I'm telling it and the way I'm writing it definitely has changed. And I did a big rewrite probably a few weeks ago, and just need to sit down and just finish the art, because I changed a few pages that are going to require some and the way I constructed that book and the way I constructed Jason's book is like, it's kind of a tedious way of making art, because I mean, it would be even more tedious if it was in real life. Granted, it will be it was going to be, it would be fun to do it traditionally, and I've actually been toying around with that with my next few books next few stories that I have. They're just doing it traditionally, so at least there's like a more human element to it. I think digital is great, it's just that trying to do it under, I just feel like these days when it comes to staying at home during all this quarantining, it feels like I need to, like, everything feels kind of artificial right now, and I feel like making a book traditionally would just feel a little bit more like you're getting your humanity back. So yeah, I actually had Christina edit that book, and so I'm probably a little bit different than most of her clientele, but she did edit the book, although I might have to go back to her for her to just re-edit the latest rewrite, because there's definitely some things that need to be addressed, or there are a lot of changes I made structurally that once I see how the whole book once I can get the artwork finished again, I'm gonna run it by some more people to see like how it feels. I was going to have like this peer group review it, and that was right before all the COVID stuff happened, and so it was kind of like it just took a back seat once I realized, I'm not gonna have any more conventions anymore. I'm gonna need to figure out how to compensate for that. But yeah, it's just about making relationships. Being, it's kind of an interesting thing right now, because like I feel like I've existed mostly in the independent sphere, and like I know people in the traditional publishing world and I think this next year I'm going to try to enter into that realm just to see what it's like, and if it works out for me, great. If it doesn't, then I'll at least I said I tried. I think the thing that I want to do at my goal as a creator is to basically be just have fun and don't be afraid to make something audacious. Although I think my stuff is pretty tame for the most part. I don't think I rock the boat too much with my stuff. I mean, it's just pandas, right? I mean, there's some stories I would like to see come to light. It's just right now I'm just kind of biding my time until I can get there. Thanks, Leo. Yeah, I got you. I got you. All right, Master Roshi. Let's do a. Let's see. Yeah, you got 25 drawings of the Book of Revelation. That's gonna be just crazy. I'd be curious to see how you illustrate that, because you do some pretty crazy designs, man. So, be looking forward to that. I guess I've drawn Vegeta a couple times. Maybe we'll do that again. I think I have time for one more, and then we can call it good. Yeah, with Doug's stuff, it's pretty amazing how he's got a whole system in place that is it's pretty impressive, you know. And I think one of the things I notice with a lot of these more prolific creators is that, you know, they're able to assemble a team, you know, to kind of help get these things out the door. You know, you can have your colorist, you have your you know, your flatters, and you know that all that contributes to the final product. And because by delegating out to other people, you're giving more time to be able to devote to the things that you're that you're able to that you can have a much greater impact on. So I have to tell myself that too. I can't really form a team at the moment because I think I need a little bit more capital in order to do that. But maybe that's where crowdfunding comes in. Maybe that's where maybe trying to get some investment where we can, if we have a strong enough project, then maybe that's something we can explore later on. But at the moment, it's not something I can do at the moment. So like I have to stay pretty lean with what I'm doing. Because right now the challenge is just trying to finish something, and that's kind of been the most difficult thing, is like being able to get the time to do it while you're also like while we're also going through this these unprecedented times. Yeah, I'm getting sick of that. So my goal is to just get the things finished, try to get the things done and move on to the next thing. But also, make something that feels like it's worth making. Because if I'm spending this time to spending this time away from family and missing out all these other events, it should be worth my time to tell this story. Or at least to engage in an endeavor. Okay, so I'm gonna just shut that down. Yeah. All right. So, well, that one went pretty quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, let's call that good. All right, guys, thanks a lot for hanging out. So we're gonna have another session tomorrow, and after this week, we're gonna move to once a day on Fridays. Or sorry, not Fridays. Wednesdays. And this is kind of a fluid thing. So if it turns out we go back to more frequent meetings, then or frequent streams, then that'd be great. I would love to, but at the moment I'm going to change it up so that it gives me more time to focus on finishing other projects, so I can at least give you more cool Panda stuff. And there's a couple projects that are been sitting on the back burner, and I need to just get those just finished, get them finished and executed, and then we can move on to the next thing. So, but I really appreciate you guys hanging in there and supporting me, and I hope you guys are also doing well too, because it's there's always something. Every day's, I'm sure it's a challenge for everybody, but let's all try to find something pretty positive each day to celebrate. And in this case, like, I'm having fun with these pandas. So anyways, you guys have a great rest of the day. We'll see you guys tomorrow for if you guys have any drawings to submit, for those of you watching, we do these Fan Fridays where I'll take people's art and redraw them in my own panda style. So feel free to message me on Facebook or Instagram, what have you, and then we can get a chance for your artwork to be shown on the show. So anyways, you guys take it easy, and see you guys around.